The phone call came on a Tuesday morning. I was sitting in my apartment, wedding binder open, checking off vendors for the 100th time. Dad's voice sounded distant, rehearsed. "I won't be coming to the wedding, Claire." The words landed like stones. No explanation. No apology. Just silence stretching between us until I heard her voice in the background. Diane, my future mother-in-law, laughing softly about something. My chest tightened. "Dad, what do you mean you won't be coming?" He cleared his throat. "It's complicated. Diane thinks it's best if I sit this one out." Best for who? I wanted to scream, but the words stuck. Instead, I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, listening to my father choose someone else's comfort over mine. When the call ended, I stared at the wall, numb. This was supposed to be the happiest time of my life. But all I felt was the familiar ache of being second place in my own father's world. I locked myself in the bridal suite that evening. The dress hung on the closet door, white and perfect, mocking me with its beauty. I couldn't stop the tears. They came in waves, hot and angry. My best friend, Natalie, knocked softly. "Claire? You okay in there?" I opened the door. She took one look at my face and pulled me into a hug. "We'll figure this out," she whispered. "Maybe there's still a way to fix this." I shook my head. "He made his choice, Nat. He chose her." She squeezed my shoulders. "Then we make sure this day is still yours. No matter what." Later, as I sat on the floor in my pajamas, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I heard what happened. "I have an idea. Trust me." My heart skipped. Who was this? And how did they know? The next morning, I arrived at Diane's house for a final planning meeting. She was already holding court in the living room, surrounded by her friends, sipping mimosas. When I walked in, her smile widened. "Oh, Claire. So glad you could make it." Her tone dripped with false sweetness. One of her friends leaned in. "I heard your father won't be attending." "Such a shame." Diane waved her hand dismissively. "Well, some people just don't know how to prioritize family." The words cut deep. I felt my hands ball into fists at my sides. She was gloating. She had orchestrated this entire thing, and now she was parading it like a trophy. My fiancé, Blake, sat quietly in the corner, scrolling through his phone, oblivious. I wanted to scream, to call her out, to demand answers. Instead, I smiled politely and excused myself to the bathroom, where I leaned against the sink and made myself a promise. This wedding would not be her victory. I tried calling Dad again that night. The phone rang twice before going to voicemail. I left a message, my voice shaking. "Dad, please. I don't understand what's happening. Just talk to me." He never called back. I sat on my bed, staring at my phone, willing it to ring. Natalie brought over takeout, but I couldn't eat. "Maybe he's just scared," she offered. "Diane's been in his ear for months." I shook my head. "He's choosing her over me. Again." It wasn't the first time. Ever since Dad started dating Diane 2 years ago, I'd felt myself slipping further and further from his life. She had a way of positioning herself at the center of everything, making sure she was the priority. And Dad just let it happen. My phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. "Don't give up yet. Someone's ready to step in." The next day, I met with Uncle Warren at a coffee shop downtown. He was my dad's oldest friend, practically family. He slid into the booth across from me, his face serious. "Your father wants to be there, Claire." "He does." I frowned. "Then why isn't he?" Warren sighed. "Diane's been working on him." telling him he's not needed, that you don't really want him there. She's got him convinced it's better this way. My blood ran cold. That's not true. I never said that. Warren nodded. I know. But she's good at twisting things. He leaned forward. Here's what I'm thinking. We don't beg him to come. We show him what he's missing. We make this wedding so powerful, so meaningful, that he realizes his mistake. I looked at him, confused. How? Warren smiled. Trust me. I've got a plan. And it's going to shock everyone. That night, Blake and I sat at dinner. I tried to bring up my father, but Blake barely looked up from his plate. It's his choice, Claire. Maybe it's for the best. I blinked. For the best? Blake, he's my father. He shrugged. My mom says he's always been unreliable. Maybe it's better if he's not there to cause drama. I stared at him, stunned. He was echoing Diane's words, her poison seeping into every corner of my life. Your mom doesn't get to decide who's important to me, I said, my voice tight. Blake finally looked up, irritation flickering in his eyes. She's just trying to help. You're being sensitive. Sensitive. The word hung between us like a slap. I realized then that this wedding wasn't just about my father's absence. It was about whether Blake would stand with me or behind his mother. And right now, I wasn't sure which side he was on. The rehearsal was a disaster. Diane took over every detail, rearranging the seating chart, critiquing the flowers, correcting the officiant's tone. I stood there, invisible in my own wedding. At one point, she turned to the bridesmaids. Now remember, Claire's father won't be here, so let's not make a fuss about it. We don't want to embarrass her. The room went silent. My face burned. Natalie stepped forward. Actually, Claire's got it handled. We've made arrangements. Diane's eyes narrowed. What arrangements? Natalie smiled sweetly. You'll see. The tension was thick. Diane's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. Blake pulled me aside afterward. What arrangements? You didn't tell me anything. I looked at him, exhausted. I'm handling it. He frowned. My mom's not going to like surprises. I turned away. This isn't about what your mom likes, Blake. It's about what I need. I walked out, leaving him standing there, and whispered to myself, this wedding will not go as anyone expects. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about my father, about how we used to be. He'd walk me to school every morning when I was little, held my hand through every storm. But after Mom died, something shifted. He became quieter, lonelier. And when Diane appeared, she filled that void so completely that there was no room left for me. I remembered the day he introduced her. She'd smiled at me, but her eyes were calculating, measuring. Within months, she'd convinced him to skip my college graduation because of a family emergency that turned out to be her niece's birthday party. He'd apologized, but the damage was done. Now, here we were again. Her voice in his ear, her agenda controlling his choices. I thought about Uncle Warren's plan, about the mysterious texts. Maybe this was my chance to take back control, to show my father what he was sacrificing. I fell asleep with that thought, a small spark of hope flickering in the darkness. The next morning, I found an envelope slipped under my door. Inside was a letter, handwritten in my father's familiar scrawl. Claire, I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. Diane made me believe you'd be fine without me, that I'd only be in the way. I was wrong. I love you. Always. Dad. Tears blurred the words. He did care. He was just trapped, manipulated, lost. I clutched the letter to my chest, feeling something shift inside me. This wasn't over. If he couldn't find the strength to stand up to Diane, then I'd give him a reason to. I'd show him that my wedding wasn't just another event. It was a moment that mattered. And he deserved to be part of it. I texted the unknown number, "I'm ready. What's the plan?" The response came instantly, "Be at the venue tomorrow at noon." Alone. At the final dress fitting, Diane showed up uninvited. She circled me like a predator, inspecting every detail. "The lace is a bit much, don't you think?" she said, tugging at the sleeve. The seamstress stiffened. "The dress is perfect as designed." Diane ignored her. "And the train is far too long. Claire's not royalty." I bit my tongue, forcing myself to stay calm. But then she did something unforgivable. While I was in the dressing room, she tried to convince the seamstress to shorten the train without my approval. Natalie caught her. "Touch that dress, and I'll make sure everyone at the wedding knows what you did," she said, her voice steel. Diane's face flushed. "I was just trying to help." Natalie stepped closer. "You're not helping. You're sabotaging. And we see you." After Diane left, the seamstress added a hidden detail to the dress, a small embroidered message inside the hem, "Walk tall. You're stronger than you know." I smiled. For the first time in weeks, I felt empowered. That evening, Blake and I had another fight. He cornered me in the kitchen, his face tight with frustration. "My mom says you're planning something behind everyone's back." I crossed my arms. "Your mom doesn't run this wedding, Blake." He scoffed. "She's just worried you're going to do something to embarrass the family." Embarrass the family. His words stung more than I expected. "What about my family, Blake? What about my father?" He looked away. "If your dad cared, he'd be here." I felt something crack inside me. "He's not here because your mother made sure of it." Blake's eyes flashed. "Don't blame my mom for your father's choices." I stared at him, seeing clearly for the first time. He wasn't going to support me. He was too deep under Diane's influence, too scared to stand up to her. I took a breath. "This wedding is happening. With or without your approval." I walked out, slamming the door behind me. I was done asking for permission. I met the wedding planner, Vanessa, at the venue the next day. She was a sharp woman with kind eyes and an air of quiet confidence. "Your friend Warren called me," she said. "He told me what's happening." I nodded. "I need to change the entrance. Something no one will expect." Vanessa smiled. "I've been doing this for 20 years, Claire. I've seen every kind of family drama. And I've learned that the best weddings are the ones where the bride takes control." She pulled out a blueprint of the venue, marking a side entrance I hadn't noticed before. "What if, instead of the traditional aisle walk, you enter from here? It gives you the element of surprise. And if you want someone else to walk with you, someone meaningful, we can arrange that too." My heart raced. "Someone else?" Vanessa nodded. "Your father's not the only person who loves you, Claire. Think about who's been there. Who deserves that honor?" I thought of Uncle Warren, of Natalie, of everyone who'd fought for me. I smiled. "I know exactly who." Natalie and I sat on my apartment floor that night, plotting. "So you're really doing this?" she asked, grinning. I nodded. "I'm walking down that aisle with someone who actually showed up for me." She raised her glass of wine. "I love it. Who's the lucky person?" I hesitated, then smiled. "Uncle Warren. He's been more of a father to me than Dad has these past 2 years." Natalie's eyes lit up. "That's perfect. Diane's going to lose her mind." I laughed, but it was tinged with sadness. This isn't about revenge, Nat. It's about reclaiming my moment. If Dad wants to be there, he can. But I'm not waiting for him anymore. She squeezed my hand. You're incredible, you know that? I shrugged. I'm just tired of being erased. My phone buzzed. Another message from the unknown number, everything's in place. Trust the process. I looked at Natalie. Whatever happens, promise me you'll be there. She smiled. Always. Diane sensed something was off. She cornered me at the venue during a walkthrough, her eyes sharp. What are you planning, Claire? I kept my face neutral. Planning for my wedding. Same as everyone else. She stepped closer. I know you're up to something. And if you embarrass Blake or this family, you'll regret it. I met her gaze, unflinching. Is that a threat? She smiled coldly. It's a promise. I pulled out my phone and pressed record, capturing her words. Say that again. Her face paled. What are you doing? I pocketed the phone. Making sure everyone knows exactly who you are. She sputtered, but I was already walking away. Natalie met me outside, grinning. Did you get it? I nodded. Every word. Diane had played her hand. Now it was my turn. Blake delivered his ultimatum that night. We stood in the parking lot of the venue, the air thick with tension. If your father shows up, I don't know if I can go through with this, he said. I stared at him, disbelief washing over me. You'd leave me at the altar because my father came? He shifted uncomfortably. My mom says it'll cause too much drama. That he'll ruin everything. I laughed bitterly. Your mom has been ruining everything since the day we got engaged, Blake. And you've let her. He flinched. That's not fair. I stepped closer. You know what's not fair? Being asked to choose between my father and my fiancé. Being told my feelings don't matter because they inconvenience your mother. He looked away. I don't know what you want from me, Claire. I felt something settle inside me, cold and final. I want you to choose me. Just once. He didn't answer. I turned and walked to my car, knowing the truth. This wedding was mine. And I'd walk down that aisle alone if I had to. The day before the wedding, a black car pulled up to the venue. I watched from the window as someone stepped out, their face obscured by a hat. My heart raced. Who was this? Vanessa appeared beside me. Your mystery guest. I frowned. What mystery guest? She smiled. Warren arranged it. Someone who loves you and wants to be here. Someone who'll make this day unforgettable. The figure disappeared inside, and I didn't see who it was. That night, I could barely sleep. My mind spun with possibilities. Tomorrow, everything would change. Tomorrow, I'd walk down that aisle on my terms, surrounded by people who chose me. And if my father was watching, if he saw what he'd given up, maybe then he'd understand. I closed my eyes, whispering a prayer to my mother, wherever she was. Help me be brave tomorrow, Mom. Help me stand tall. Somewhere, I felt her answer. The morning of the wedding, I arrived at the venue early. The air smelled of flowers and fresh linen. Everything was perfect. Vanessa pulled me aside. Your father's here. My breath caught. What? She nodded toward a side room. He's been here since dawn. Said he couldn't miss this. That he'd been a fool. Tears pricked my eyes. I walked to the room and opened the door. Dad sat on a chair, his face lined with regret. Claire, I'm so sorry. I crossed the room and knelt in front of him. Then why, Dad? Why did you let her control you? He shook his head. I was scared of being alone. After your mom, I thought Diane was my second chance. But I see now. She's not worth losing you. I hugged him tightly. You're here now. That's what matters. He pulled back. I want to walk you down that aisle. If you'll let me. I smiled, tears streaming. We'll see, Dad. Just trust me. The ceremony began. The music swelled, and the doors opened. Everyone turned. But I didn't appear from the expected entrance. Instead, I stepped out from the side door Vanessa had shown me, bathed in soft light. Gasps rippled through the crowd. And beside me, steady and proud, was Uncle Warren. His arm linked with mine, his eyes shining. Ready, he whispered. I nodded. We walked slowly, every step deliberate. I saw Diane's face twist in confusion and anger. I saw Blake's eyes widen. And I saw my father, standing at the side, tears streaming down his face. This wasn't about revenge. It was about being seen. About honoring the people who'd stood by me when others walked away. The crowd erupted in whispers, but I didn't care. I was walking toward my future, and I was doing it my way. Halfway down the aisle, Uncle Warren stopped. He turned to the crowd and spoke, his voice strong. This young woman has shown more courage and grace than anyone I know. She's been let down by people who should have protected her. But she's still standing. Still choosing love. That's what real strength looks like. He looked at me. Claire, I'm honored to walk beside you today. Not because I'm replacing anyone, but because you deserve to have someone who sees your worth. The crowd erupted in applause. Diane's face turned crimson. Blake looked shaken, realizing too late what this moment meant. Uncle Warren squeezed my hand and stepped aside. And then, from the side, my father appeared. He walked toward me, his face open and raw. May I finish this walk with you? He asked, his voice breaking. I nodded, tears flowing freely. He took my arm, and together, we walked the final steps to the altar. Blake stood frozen as we approached. His eyes darted between me, my father, and his mother in the front row. I could see the realization dawning on him. He hadn't expected this. He'd underestimated me. When we reached the altar, my father kissed my cheek. I'm so proud of you, he whispered. I turned to Blake. His hands were shaking. Claire, I held up a hand. Not here. This moment is about us. About the commitment we're making. If you're ready to make it, then let's begin. If not, tell me now. He swallowed hard, glancing at his mother. Diane's face was a mask of barely controlled fury. But Blake looked back at me and nodded. I'm ready. I'm sorry I didn't see it before. But I'm here now. I searched his eyes, looking for truth. And I found it, shaky and uncertain, but real. Okay, I whispered. Then let's do this. The officiant began the ceremony, but I could feel the tension humming through the crowd. My father stood just off to the side, wiping his eyes. Uncle Warren sat in the front row, smiling proudly. And Diane sat rigid, her jaw clenched. After the vows, I turned to the crowd. I want to say something. Blake looked surprised, but nodded. I took a breath. This day almost didn't happen. Not because of love, but because of manipulation. Because someone decided that my feelings didn't matter. I looked directly at Diane. But I'm here because of the people who fought for me. My father, who found his way back. Uncle Warren, who never left. My friends, who held me up. This wedding is for them. For everyone who believes in love that doesn't control, but uplifts. The crowd erupted in applause. Diane stood abruptly and stormed out, her heels clicking sharply. Blake watched her go, then turned back to me, his eyes clear. I should have done that months ago, he said softly. I smiled. Better late than never. After the ceremony, my father pulled me aside. We stood in a quiet corner of the garden, the sun setting behind us. Claire, I need to explain. I shook my head. Dad, you don't have to, he held up a hand. Yes, I do. Diane told me you didn't want me there. That you'd made other plans. She said you told her I was too unreliable, that I'd just embarrass you. My heart broke. Dad, I never said that. Never. He nodded, tears streaming. I know that now. Warren showed me texts, messages. He proved she'd been lying. I'm so sorry I believed her. I hugged him tightly. She's good at manipulating people, Dad. But you're here now. That's all that matters. He pulled back, his face serious. I'm ending things with Diane. Tonight. I should have done it the moment she tried to come between us. I squeezed his hand. I just want you back, Dad. That's all I've ever wanted. He smiled. You've got me, sweetheart. I promise. The reception was everything I'd dreamed of. Laughter filled the air, music played, and for the first time in months, I felt light. Blake pulled me onto the dance floor, his arms steady around me. I'm sorry, he whispered. For not standing up sooner. For letting my mom control things. I looked up at him. We have to be a team, Blake. If we're going to make this work, you have to choose us over her. Every time. He nodded. I will. I promise. I wanted to believe him. And for now, I chose to. Uncle Warren gave a toast that brought everyone to tears. To Claire, who taught us all what it means to stand up for yourself. To choose love, even when it's hard. To never settle for less than you deserve. The crowd cheered. My father stood and added, and to second chances. To realizing what matters before it's too late. He looked at me, his eyes full of love. I'm so proud of you, Claire. Your mother would be too. I smiled through tears. Thanks, Dad. For being here. Finally. The next morning, news spread quickly. Diane's behavior at the wedding became the talk of everyone who attended. Her dramatic exit, her attempts to control the day, her manipulation of my father, all of it came to light. People who'd witnessed her cruelty over the years finally spoke up, sharing their own stories. Blake's family was humiliated. His father called him, demanding an explanation. Blake stood firm. Mom crossed a line. I should have stopped her sooner. But I'm drawing boundaries now. For the first time, I saw him truly stand up to her. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. My father, true to his word, ended things with Diane that very night. She tried to call me, to apologize, to spin her narrative. But I didn't answer. I'd said everything I needed to say at the wedding. Later, I sat with my father and Uncle Warren, looking through photos from the day. You did good, kid, Warren said, grinning. I smiled. We all did. My father squeezed my hand. I won't let you down again, Claire. That's a promise. And for the first time in years, I believed him. The weeks after the wedding brought unexpected peace. Blake and I started therapy, working through the patterns that had nearly broken us. He set firm boundaries with Diane, and though she resisted, she eventually backed off. My father and I rebuilt our relationship slowly, carefully. We had coffee every Sunday, talking about everything and nothing. He told me stories about my mother I'd never heard, and I shared my dreams for the future. Uncle Warren became a regular fixture in my life, the steady presence I'd always needed. And Natalie? She remained my constant, my anchor, my chosen family. Looking back, I realized something important. That wedding wasn't just about walking down an aisle. It was about reclaiming my voice. About refusing to be erased. About choosing people who chose me back. If you've ever felt overlooked, manipulated, or pushed aside, know this, your story matters. Your feelings are valid. And you have every right to stand up for yourself, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because the people who truly love you will show up. Not just when it's convenient, but when it counts. And that's the only kind of love worth having.